G'day legends, welcome back to Max Power Cardboard Collectibles. Hope you guys are all doing really well out there, and welcome back to another edition of Show Us Your Tips for round 10, Sir Doug Nicholls round. I always love Sir Doug Nicholls round. I think it's a great initiative by the AFL. Always great to see how the other clubs get around it, all the jumpers, all the logo changes, name changes, all that kind of stuff. I think it's great. Yeah, love it. And I do seem to think that the Indigenous players in this league do seem to lift and, just bring that little bit of extra magic. So yeah, look, it's going to be a great round of footy. There are some good games. There are also going to be some not so good games this week, but that's footy. So look, we are going to get stuck into the tips shortly. You ought to know by now. Links to the socials downstairs in the description. Make sure you check out the Insta for all the stuff that I like to post of all my cards, my PC, stuff that I pull off channel. Check out the Twitter for all my shitty football takes, and make sure you get around the eBay store if you are looking to pick yourself up a little something. So we're going to get stuck into the tips in just a moment. Look, last week we did pretty well. We managed to get away with a 6 out of 9. Now, for those of you playing along at home who are trying to match what I say we got to what I posted last week, I did change one tip. Obviously, there was some incredibly sad news last week around the Cam McCarthy situation in the Freo Footy Club. So when I did find that out, I did change my tip to Sydney. I just thought, the emotional weight of all that stuff for the players was probably just going to be a little bit too hard for them to overcome the Swans, and that's ended up being what happened. I do remember, what was that, about 5-6 years ago now, maybe even longer, the Phil Walsh, the Adelaide West Coast game after the Phil Walsh situation, and I just remember watching that game thinking, geez, how did these guys get up to play a game of footy? So look, thoughts go out to anyone who knew Cam, friends, family, all that stuff. Obviously incredibly sad, and a young bloke taken far too young. So yeah, look, that's probably enough about last week. We're going to get stuck into this week. It's going to be a ripper. Let's get it. All right, big dogs. So we are going to kick things off with a bit of Thursday night footy. We got Gold Coast playing Geelong up at TIO Stadium in Darwin. This is probably not going to be the best game to watch. I don't think this is going to be a big one for skills. I didn't watch the Gold Coast North Melbourne game last week, but look, from all reports, it was an absolute slogfest. And look, I see it being pretty similar this week. Look, obviously, Gold Coast are playing some pretty average footy. I feel like they're their wins, their record is better than what they are, if that makes sense. I feel like, really, they're well in the frame to play finals, but I don't think their footy's really been reflecting that, especially not lately. And Geelong, look, I broke Geelong, I know, but I'm still going to try and fix them up here. I think the Cats are going to win this one relatively easily. I reckon it'll be about 3-4 goals. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit closer than that. To be honest, I feel like I said, the playing in the slop up there in Darwin means that, highly skilled teams generally get brought down to the level of the lesser skilled team. But look, I still think Geelong are going to be good enough to get the job done. And we'll move over now to Friday night footy. We got the Swans playing Carlton at the SCG. This game is going to be an absolute belter. Look, if it was anywhere else other than the SCG, I'd probably be thinking this is, very much a 50-50 split. It looks like a lot of people here are going with the Swans, obviously, with the curve here, which I only just figured out last week. That's what it meant. I'm a bit slow. But look, yeah, we're going to go with the Swans here. I just think that, I think they're going to get the done at home, be able to get the job done at home. Not easily. I think it's going to be a pretty good game, but I still think it'll be a couple of goals in it by the time the game finishes. So we'll lock that in. Swans by a couple of goals. We'll move on now to Collingwood taking on Adelaide at the MCG. Collingwood did an absolute number on my Eagles last week, as expected, to be honest. I thought it could have gotten close if we played our best footy. We did not play our best footy, that's for sure. Look, the Pies are back. I think they're, they're sitting 8th now, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finish the season in top 4 calculations for sure. Adelaide will be going by the name, Kuruwana this year, which is this week, sorry. And that is essentially the local Indigenous word for crows, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, look, I don't think it's going to get them the win though. I definitely think the Pies are going to get the job done here. Look, Adelaide are back in a sense, but I don't think they're back to the level that Collingwood are back, and I'm going to be tipping the Pies here by about 4 goals. Moving on, we have got first game Saturday. We've got GWS taking on the Bulldogs at the Sydney Showgrounds. Look, this one is a tough one to call. Giants have had a couple of bad weeks in a row. The Bulldogs are all over the shop. I don't know when, are they back? Are they not back? Are they good? Are they terrible? Who knows? But look, I do think Giants will get the jobs done here. They are going to be without a couple of players though. Lockie Ash and Josh Kelly will both be missing, and both be missing for a fairly long time with some pretty significant calf injuries. From what I've seen, both of those seem to be about 6-week injuries. So look, not great things for GWS, but look, they got guys on the fringe that can come in. I think Jakey Ware will come in for Ash, and I think Peatling will probably come into that wing midfielder role, left vacant by Josh Kelly. On the dog side of things, look, hopefully Riley Sanders is back. That is just me being 100% selfish for my fantasy team. But look, regardless of the ins and outs, excuse me, I do believe that Giants will get the job done here. But I think it'll be pretty close. I think it'll be a couple of goals in it. So let's lock that in now. 2 goals to the Giants. Moving on to the next game, we have got St Kilda, who have also changed their name to something that I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of. Euro for Saint, obviously, and Yurok. I'm not sure. Apologies, I've probably absolutely butchered that one. But they'll be coming up against Yellup, which is the indigenous name for Fremantle in Noongar language. And they'll be playing at Docklands in Melbourne. This is going to be a pretty decent game. I cannot believe that everyone's tipping St Kilda. St Kilda are favourites to win this game. I don't get it. Freo are good. I know they're sitting 9th now, hashtag 9th mantle. But yeah, no, Freo are a good side, and I think Freo will do this, not easily. I mean, St Kilda are 14th on the ladder. They've won 3 games for the year. Fremantle have had 1 bad game. They could be 7-2 if it wasn't for definitely 6-3 with the Carlton game that they lost because of the free kick and then the descent, and we all know what happened there. And they were pretty unlucky to lose that game against Port Adelaide as well. But Freo are a good side, so look, I'm going to lock Freo win by 3 goals. I think that seems pretty fair to bit of a revenge game on Rossi Lyon as well. All right, moving on to the next game now. We have got Brizzy taking on Richmond at the Gabba. I think the curve speaks for itself in this one. Richmond are kind of like the new West Coast from maybe 2022, where they really petered off at the end of last year and are now sort of starting their rebuild phase. So look, I'm not expecting much from the Tigers. The Lions definitely seem to be back. So yeah, we're going to lock them in by about 6 goals. I think that one's pretty straight up and down for that for sure. And then moving over to the next game as well, we have got the Bombers taking on North Melbourne at Marvel. I'm going to eat my words, guys. All the Essendon fans out there, I am sorry. I apologize. You have a good football team, and don't let anyone tell you any differently. Also, you are coming up against a team that is not a good football team, so you will easily win this game. Again, I think the curve serves for itself here. We're going to put Essendon by 10 goals. Can't really see that going any other way. Sorry, North fans. All right, moving on, we got Port taking on Hawthorn at Adelaide Oval. Port will be going by the name Yatapulti this week for their Indigenous round clash. So yeah, again, this is going to be a pretty one-sided affair, I think. Yeah, I mean, look, Hawthorn are where Hawthorn are. They have been better the last couple of weeks. We did tip them to beat the Saints last week, and they did get the job done for us, but I do not see that happening this week. Again, lock and Port in by probably 6 goals. I think that's going to be pretty fair there. Moving on to the last game of the round, we have got West Coast Eagles, who will be going by the name Walij Marawa, which means Eagles from the West. Probably butchered that pronunciation as well. And they'll be taking on Nam. We all know Nam. I think Melbourne were the first team to do the name change thing about 3 years ago. And yeah, look, like I said, full credit to the clubs that are doing it. Again, it for me, it just piques my interest in learning new things about, about the native culture in my area. I think it's great. If you don't like it, well, blow it out your ass. But yeah, look, I think again, this game's going to be maybe pretty one-sided. Look, I was kind of confident with West Coast last week that, it might be around that 6-goal margin. It blew out to obviously 10 or 11. But look, just on that last week game, I think if that game I think Simo said this in the presser as well, if that game had been last year, we lose that game by 120 points. So, full credit to the boys for digging in after half-time and keeping it somewhat respectable. I mean, a 10-goal thumping isn't really respectable, but it's much more respectable than, say, 171 points, where Sydney hits 220-odd points and yeah, it all goes tits up. So, look, I think Melbourne are going to dominate out of the middle. I'm not sure if Yoey's going to be back this week. Haven't got an update on that yet. But look, Max Gawn versus Bailey Williams is going to be a pretty one-sided affair. And I think he's going to be given first use to Melbourne's midfield. And I do think Melbourne are going to win by a decent enough margin. I'll probably stick with the curve here. I think it's going to be about that sort of 6 to 8 goal range. I'm going to lock it into a cool 40 points. And yeah, that will do us for the tips for round 10. Hope you guys pick some winners and have a great round of watching a footy. Yeah, like I said, enjoy all the stuff around Indigenous round. You know, make sure you go and have a look on the AFL website. They've got a whole article. It shows you all the team names that have changed, all the logos that have changed, and as well they got a list of pictures of all the Indigenous round jumpers. Look, they all look pretty bloody good. I think. Top two for me are the GWS and the West Coast ones. I also think the Collingwood looks pretty fire as well. So look, if you haven't gone and if you haven't seen them on Twitter or gone and checked them out, make sure you go and have a look. I think it's great. Like I said, a lot of local Indigenous artists get to make their name for themselves by designing these jerseys. A lot of them have ties to the club and cool stories around it as well. So yep, look, it's going to be a great round of footy. Hope you guys pick a winner. Hope you guys have a good week in your fantasy, and hell, maybe you even have a cheeky bet and pick a winner as well. So look, that'll be it for me for this video, guys. I will have a Brilliance video coming up hopefully in the next few days. Still waiting for it to rock up here in the West. I know people are already opening boxes on the East Coast. I've seen a lot of big hits being pulled already. I think I was watching a 5-box break. I'm not sure, I can't remember whether it was RGV or not. 2 West Coast Dual Sigs pulled in a 5-box break. That is crazy. That is crazy. Hopefully they're saving some of the West Coast Dual Sigs for us over here in the West. But yeah, it won't be too long before you see me again. Hopefully with some brilliance. Hopefully, if not in the next couple of days, definitely, hopefully Monday, Tuesday next week. So look, stay tuned for that. And yeah, we'll see you then. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.